was, priced it accordingly, get it sold. If somebody loved the house and it was priced right and it needed all that, they probably would have bought it and done it themselves. Just be careful during this walkthrough. We're only there to take photographs, take notes, ask questions. While we're there, we want to uncover the seller's motivations and expectations. We're on page 7. Their motivation and expectations. Why are you selling? Where are you going? When do you have to be there? We're there to find out, have they ever sold a home before? Have you ever sold a home before? Oh, you have? How long ago was that? Find out when. Maybe things have changed. And then, of course, we're looking at the property's features and amenities. We have a marketing tool that I want you to use for this purpose. You can pull it out of your packet of information that you got. It's in there. It's called Getting to Know You. Getting to know you and your home. I really like this tool because otherwise we'd be taking notes on a yellow pad, and there's only so many notes you can jot down when you're walking through a home quickly and people are talking to you at the same time. But if you've got your little booklet out, let's look at it together. The first page is the questions you need to ask people. And you don't have to do it like a survey, you know, bam, 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 bam. You can do it, throw them in as you're walking through the house. The next page is basic information about the property. Third page in is the kitchen, assuming that we're starting in the kitchen. It could be another area of the home, in which case you use one of the other pages. But notice when you're in the kitchen that this booklet makes you look at everything so you don't forget anything. You not only use this for your walkthrough, but you use it to put together your listing so that your listing can be completely filled out with everything but the price when you get there tonight at 7. So notice it makes you look up, down, and all around and ask questions. Does this stay? Does that stay? Next page, you can go room by room and fill in the information that you need and notes. There's enough room, if you flip over, for 12 rooms. If you have more than that, if you have a bigger home, then just take another one of these or make some copies of these pages. After the 12th room, you see other points of interest. Exterior of the property, information about that, garage, other amenities. And then the next page is basement and attic information. After that, there's a place for you to write a brief description of the property. And I would wait and write my longer description when I get to my car. Maybe I'll do it then, or maybe when I get back to my office. Next page is other points of interest. Sewage, water, lawn sprinkler, pool, stuff like that. And then more basement and attic information. Some of you don't have basements, just, put not applicable. And yet more basement and attic information on the next page. And a lot of this may not apply to you where you live, but we're trying to cover all bases here. And then the last page are things that you want to see if they have handy. And if not, if some of this they don't have or don't know where to find it right this minute, leave them the last page, which tells them what you would like them to have available tonight. Just check off the blocks of the things you'd like to have for them to have tonight, like the tax bill, property survey, anything that you want, so that they have a chance to pull it out of their files. And that is your Getting to Know You booklet. I like it, because I'm telling you, you cannot jot down enough notes on a a yellow pad, and there's no way you're going to remember all the details about a home. All right, any questions so far? We're not through with our walkthrough. We're going to talk about it a little more, but do you have any questions so far? While you're walking through this home, I want you to look at it as if you were the buyer for it. What are you seeing? Make notes about the property details and anything the seller tells you, but don't be afraid to ask about things that look like there's a problem. Looks like you've had a little leak in the ceiling here, have you? What happened there, do you know? Oh, so the commode upstairs, the seal around it was leaking and it came through the ceiling down here. Has that been repaired? Did you all repair it yourself or did you have it done professionally? Okay. You have a receipt on that? Might be a good thing to have. Now, it is true that I am at some point going to ask her or suggest to them that they repaint the ceiling so as not to draw attention to the fact that there was a problem that no longer exists. Sometimes when people see one problem, they assume there might be many. But when do I suggest that? Not here during the walkthrough. Not even during the listing presentation, but after I get the listing. John, Susan, you know what? I think we have a nice home here to sell. I do think that there's a couple of things you might want to do that would make the home more saleable. And one is, you know that area where you had the leak in the ceiling? I think you need to paint over that. I think that would help a lot. See, I already got the listing, so I can risk it now. And you know what else I think you should do? And give them a little list of things you think they should do. But I want the listing, and I want it as is, and I'm going to price it as is. If they do that, great. That's not going to make it or break the price, but it might make it more saleable. And then I want to ask about personal property items, what they're leaving, what they're taking with them. If they start telling me that they're leaving, you know, the draperies or whatever, that's well and good. That might make the home sell, might make it sell quicker, it might make someone buy it who wouldn't have otherwise have bought it. But let them know that does not add to the pricing of their home. Explain personal property to people. I want you to think like an appraiser thinks. Here's what an appraiser thinks. A house is a house is a house is a house. It's all about square footage and condition. It's not about draperies, because draperies are personal property. The fact that they spent $20,000 for them and they're leaving with them with the house does not add one dime more to the house. Nor does the wallpaper that they put up that's $100 a roll. Nor does the upgraded carpeting that they put in. None of that matters to an appraiser. So you need to think like an appraiser thinks when you're walking through and considering the pricing of a home. You see, an appraiser works for one person and one person only, and it's not the buyer, and it's not the seller, and it's not you. It is the bank, the lender, the person making the loan. That's who the appraiser is supposed to be protecting from loss should this property then go to foreclosure. You see, once I get my 6 kids and 7 dogs in this look at that. You need to think like an appraiser thinks. None of this, by the way, are things you discussed during the walkthrough, but as you're walking through, I want you to think like an appraiser thinks. I also want you to understand the difference between maintenance and improvement items. Maintenance items are things that maintain the existing value of a home. Improvements are things people have done which increase the value of a home. And unfortunately, the sellers tend to think that everything they did is an improvement that increases the value of their home. So as you're walking through and you're thinking about the pricing of the home, don't let things like that sway you. Oh, we just put on a new roof. It cost us $20,000. Now they're telling you this, thinking that this will add value to their home. If homes in the area are selling between $190,000 and $200,000, their home is not suddenly $220,000 because they have a new roof. If their home normally would have been on the high end of the range, because it's a very nice home, that means their home is $200,000. But then their roof started leaking. They had to put on a new roof. Guess what they've done? They've maintained their $200,000 value house. They've not added $20,000 to it. An appraiser is not going to add a dime for maintenance items. Improvements would be things that, oh, and by the way, new air conditioning unit, new hot water heater, all of those things fall under the category of maintenance. Did it have air conditioning before? Then it didn't. You made it air conditioned again. You maintained the existing value of your home. You had a roof that didn't leak, but after the hurricane, now it's leaking. They say it cannot be patched one more time. You need a new roof. You just maintain the existing value of your home. Otherwise, your home would be worth considerably less because it's leaked. So what is an improvement? An improvement would be things that add square footage. We put an addition onto our house. That is an improvement. You've added square footage. We put an additional bathroom off the master bedroom because it was a 1950s home with 3 bedrooms and 1 bath in the hallway. That's an improvement that can add value. More people will be able to live in that home today, and it's added square footage as well. Those are improvements to a property. An aging property that has been totally renovated. Now there is an improvement that an appraiser will look at to a certain extent. He won't add dollar for dollar what they spent, but he will look at it as being more of an up-to-date property than perhaps the neighbor. Now he's not going to put it too far out of line of what the community will bear, because every time an appraiser adds value to a home, like let's say that the range in a neighborhood is 190 to 200 sale price. Now he appraised the home for 195. I'm sorry, for 205. That brings the entire neighborhood upward in value, because once you sell a home in a neighborhood for 205, where it was 190 to 200, now the next person wants their home to get, they jack up the price of their home, and pretty soon we gradually keep moving those homes upward. That's how prices increase. So appraisers are reluctant to do it unless it truly is an improvement. On page 9 is where we are. On page 9. Want to, before we leave the walkthrough, confirm our second visit with the seller. Mrs. Sellers, thank you so much for allowing me to walk through the home today and take these photographs. at that time. Here, by the way, is a little booklet about my company that you might want to take a look at. It's kind of something you might want to peruse through this afternoon. If you have any questions before tonight, you can always give me a call. You have a great day. And that's how we close and confirm our actual appointment tonight at 7. And what I just gave her is this final booklet in your packet that you got. It looks like this. Invite us in, we'll bring results. This is called a pre-listing material, and we're on page 10. Just a booklet that kind of tells you and Weikert to them, something for them to look at, to get to know your company better before you come back. Within this booklet is something we call the Weikert Pledge of Service. You need to take a look at that and know that they will have looked at that possibly and expect you to sign it tonight when you're there. So once you get your listing, you're there at the listing presentation, you'll be signing this, which commits you to do certain things for them, like return their calls promptly, keep them informed of any changes in the neighborhood or activity in the neighborhood. Do everything you can to simplify the process for them. It's just real simple things, but you're signing a commitment. Now, if they've interviewed other agents, those agents just want them to sign a listing. You are signing a commitment as well, which sets you apart from the other kids in real estate. Not to mention, you did the walkthrough, which sets you apart, and now you have the Doors listing presentation to share with them, which truly sets you apart. And that's why we get the listing 85% of the time. When we do step 1, step 2, and step 3. That was all step 1, the initial walkthrough visit. Now we're going to move into what we do in between our 2 visits, which is what we do back at the office to get prepared. Before we do, though, I see that Misty has a question. And if I recall, Misty does not have a microphone, so maybe she chatted that question to you, Pete?
Yeah, she actually did. She was talking about, she said, what about a carpet? Is that in the same boat as a roof as far as the value of the home? So could there be a difference in a dirty carpet rather than a brand new carpet?
As far as the saleability of the home, depends on whether you're pricing it. You need to just price it like a home that the carpet needs replacing. So let's say that the range of value of what homes are selling for in the neighborhood are $190,000 to $200,000. I'm willing to bet you that the $200,000 are the best houses, right? And the $190,000 are those that need something. She's going to be in the lower price range, not the higher. There's always a range of value. You don't walk in and say, your house is $192,500. No. You say, based on what has sold, the lowest was $190,000, the highest was $200,000. And I believe that if you look at these homes, you'll see that the one for $190,000 was in excellent condition. The home had some upgrades, they had new carpeting, it was a very lovely home. Now the one at $190,000 needed a lot of work. Now I don't think you need a lot of work, but you know, you